Well, the cracks are certainly starting to show over and over again for Hunter Biden. In a new exclusive from the Daily Mail, text messages between the president's son and his sister-in-law / one-time lover, Hallie Biden, has exposed something quite interesting. In a December 2018 text message Hunter Biden sends to Hallie, he asks why she's mad at him. Hallie responds, telling him that he needs to do everything in his power to get sober before anything else. Time and life are passing by, she says. Hunter then responds with a series of reasons as to why he feels alone. He begins by explaining that he has alienated his friends, family and employees. Hunter continues on, saying that he is rebuilding an income that can support an enormous alimony. Then it gets specific. The president's son talks about how he is dealing with the aftermath of the abduction and likely assassination of his business partner and the richest man in the world. It continues, Hunter whining about the arrest and conviction of his client, the chief of intelligence of the People's Republic of China by the US government, and the retaliation of the Chinese and the ouster and arrest of US suspected CIA operatives inside China. Then the text messages get even more incriminating. He says that he is dealing with his suspected involvement in brokering a deal with Vladimir Putin directly for the largest sale of oil gas assets inside Russia to China, a tax bill that Eric, one of his business partners, left hanging over his head. Oh, and Dad is running for president, he says. Quite a lot to unpack there from one series of text messages between Hunter and Hallie. Let me break this down for you. When Hunter writes about his business partner who is potentially being abducted and perhaps assassinated, he's referring to Ye Jianming. Mr. Jianming was the chairman of the Chinese energy company CEFC, a company of which Hunter did a lot of work with. Ye Jianming was arrested in China over economic crimes. He's been named as someone who courted the Biden family and other big Washington names, subsequently going on to pay Hunter Biden millions of dollars despite not having any qualifications for the role that he held. According to the Washington Post article earlier this year, over the course of 14 months in 2017, CEFC paid $4.8 million to entities controlled by Hunter and his uncle Jim Biden. Within those text messages, when Hunter refers to the Chinese chief of intelligence who was arrested and convicted by the US government, he means Patrick Ho. In 2017, Mr. Ho hired Hunter on a $1 million retainer and was also one of Mr. Ye Jianming's top lieutenants. He was later charged and convicted by the US government for a scheme to bribe leaders from Chad and Uganda. The most interesting and I'd say bizarre part of these text messages obtained by the Daily Mail is the mention of an oil deal with Vladimir Putin. Hunter does not admit to taking part. He just says that there is speculation he was involved in directly brokering a deal between the Russian president for the sale of oil gas assets inside Russia to China. He also says one of his business partners, Eric Schwerin, left a tax bill hanging over his head. Hunter's overseas business deals truly are a twisted, tangled web, a web of which his father, President Joe Biden, has maintained that he has no knowledge of. Over the last 6 months or so, more and more of Hunter's laptop has been leaked, and sometimes the contents of the leaks contradict what the president has told the American public. According to a survey released yesterday, 69% of Americans do not believe President Biden's assertion that he never discussed overseas business dealings with his son. A huge 49% said that it was very likely Joe Biden knew, while just 22% thought he was unaware. The poll also asked respondents how likely it was that President Biden personally profited from the deals with Chinese government-linked companies. 62% believe that Biden benefited, with 44% assessing that it was very likely. As critics of the Biden administration and members of the American public call out for answers on the president's son, it may not be a huge wait. Fox News is reporting today that the federal investigation into Hunter Biden and his tax affairs, which has been operating since 2018, has reached a critical stage. Officials are looking into whether to charge Hunter on potential tax violations, possible foreign lobbying, and more.
Fox News can confirm things are moving toward a head in the federal investigation into Hunter Biden. A source familiar with the investigation confirms the grand jury tasked with looking at potential evidence has wrapped up its latest term in this case in recent weeks. The case may now be in the hands of the government, the Department of Justice, to make the next move. The president's son has not been charged with a crime, but is under investigation and has been since 2018 for tax issues and overseas business dealings. The source said the U.S. Attorney and Justice Department officials were looking into whether to charge Hunter with various tax violations and, more seriously, possible foreign lobbying violations and possible false statements.